Hi, welcome to RevSpo. This is your host Ishan, along with Trisha, Snehashi, Bora, and Bharat. We all know what happened last night: a disappointing defeat for Team India. A lot of problems that were found, which will be discussed in the show as well today. But this show is mainly for the solutions. What's the way ahead? How can we ensure that this does not happen? And what will it take for the system to finally change? A lot to be discussed in the show. We'll get into great detail, and we'll also discuss the critical areas of what can be tackled. Bureda, I'll start off with you. Obviously, in the post-match show, a lot of this was already discussed. But let's talk about the initial solutions at the moment. What comes straight at the top of your head? We already discussed the change of captaincy. We'll discuss this in greater detail as well. But besides this point, is there any other factors that you think have to be changed? Players who should be dropped? I'll leave it to you, and then we'll carry on to the rest of the panel.
First things first is introspection. Do we actually accept that there is a problem? Five of us do, viewers do, a lot of fans do, but do the players and the coach do that? Because I have read comments from the press conference where it is said that this is a special bunch. I have read comments we have fielded well. I have read comments Australia went over the line because they had the experience. Now these kind of comments are clear defensive comments. That is where, according to me, is the problem. I have got no doubts that redemption will happen. But for redemption to happen, introspection is the need of the hour. You
Yeah.
introspect, you solve, you redeem, get to redemption and you move on. But are we ready to introspect? In order to introspect, Ishan, it takes a lot of courage to say we failed. It takes a lot of courage to say that. It is essential for people in positions of power, like an Amol Mazumdar or a Smriti Mandhana or a Harmanpreet Kaur, to say, you know what, we failed. We were not good enough.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we were not good enough. I've not seen that. The moment you have that, that is your first step to redemption because you've accepted failure. And by the way, sport allows that. Sport makes for that. In sport, you will fail way more than you will win. We know that. But are we ready to accept that and stop saying, oh, Australia has experience? India did not. Oh, you know what? We fielded well. Just two drop catches. Oh, we went on to improve. Unfortunately, we were not able to play a few balls. These are excuses. The first step, Ishan, first absolute step forward is what I said is introspection and acceptance. If there is acceptance, things will improve. If there is no acceptance that we actually let ourselves down, then I'm sorry, things will not improve.
Absolutely. Trisha, it's funny. Amol attended the press conference and he mentioned that we lost because it was a lack of experience. But if you look at that side, there's actually quite a lot of experience in that side. Don't look at the ages, but look at the amount of World Cups they played, look at the amount of games that they played. There's quite a lot of experience. So it's not a lack of experience. It's not what actually went wrong. What went wrong was that they didn't feel well. There was a lack of application, and this team didn't come together. So, like Boryada mentioned, yeah, why can't you just state facts for what it is? And why is it a statement made that there's a lack of experience?
I think what we engage ourselves in is self pity. That's the problem. We always try to find a reason why we lost by seeing how we can blame somebody, be it BCCI, be it how Australians are more experienced or some uh, crap like that. Uh, there's no accountability, there's no acceptance. As Boryada said, it's the same thing that I will repeat. And the problem is, if you, as the head coach, are coming out of that loss, and instead of saying that, look, today we were the second side, we were never the first side. There was a problem, we will try to solve it. Only then can you solve it. As I was saying in the office group, the bigger problem is if you win Asian Games gold and you're saying that, oh, this is equal to the World Cup, you have lost it there. You lost this
Hmm.
World Cup match there. You did not lose it yesterday. You lost it there.
Yes.
There you said defeating Nepal and defeating a depleted Sri Lankan side. Sri Lankan side, which came to the World Cup, was way more in form. And we know how badly they fared. But that Sri Lankan side had no metal. And defeating them, we were getting excited. My problem is that you are celebrating mediocrity. And
Yes.
as long as fans celebrate mediocrity, I can still accept it. But if you in the dressing room are celebrating mediocrity, then that comes out in the results, and that is what is happening.
Ishan, before you go to the others, I don't want to bring this point with men, but I just want to say, forced to make one point. When India lost the men's World Cup final on home soil in Ahmedabad, for the longest time we saw Rohit Sharma was hurting. And he said that in the public domain. For 1 month, he was not even there because he knew he had let the team down. India had let the team down after 10 wins. By the way, India made the final. India played some outstanding cricket. We made the final, and yet the captain and
Yeah.
the coach were both hurting. Rahul Dravid wanted to give up on the job. Rohit Sharma was hurting and hurting bad. The same with Virat Kohli. What happened? There was acceptance that yes, we were
Mm.
not there. We finally could not finish the job. And that is what resulted in the win in America. Not saying, oh, Australia was experienced, we
Absolutely.
were not, we did field well, sadly, it didn't happen. We were there till the last over of the game. All this is rubbish. For once, we must stop this. And that is where I think Amol can do better. Harman can do better. Smriti can do better. Deepthi can do better. All of these players have been around for a decade. Shafali too, more than half a decade. I don't think there is any lack of anything in that side for us to be giving these excuses.
Bharat Ramraj, I'll come to you. This fact about not accepting your mistakes. Okay, I think, is it my internet or is it
Okay.
okay?
Can you
Gagi, I'll
hear
go
me?
to you.
Because
Okay, I think
because
Bharat's back on. Bharat, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. Just can you come again?
Yes. What I was asking you was, when is the time that you should finally accept this? You're making excuses. You're not stating what the facts really are. What are some of the changes that you would like to see in this side going ahead? And you were also part of the press conference, so you can go ahead and tell us some of the other factors that were discussed in that press conference yesterday as well.
See, before that, I will try to compare this press conference with Rumesh Ratnayaka's press conference. Rumesh Ratnayaka accepted.
Bharat, I think you'll have to speak a little louder, just a little louder.
Yes, he accepted. Rumesh Ratnayaka accepted that Sri Lanka played badly. He also told that there was lack of skill. They didn't play well under pressure. They crumbled under pressure. He accepted
Hmm.
everything in the press conference after they got crushed by India. In comparison to it, Amul Muzumdar was kind of saying it is a special group. It all came down to Australia's experience. We basically wanted to say Australia's experience of winning.
Hmm.
So all these things he was trying to say, he was kind of trying to cover up. Uh, I guess yes, India fought hard. I understand India really fought hard. Harmanpreet Kaur fought hard right till then, but eventually India again went down to Australia. Like we beat the Commonwealth Games, beat in the semi-final in the World Cup last year, or this year is against Australia. Opponent India have lost from positions where it looked like they might go on to win the match. So where someone has to accept that something is going wrong mentally. India are not able to match Australia. I think that is the main part. Is building part is there. India
Yeah.
have not built it. Somewhere India have also tactically made some blunders. Harmanpreet Kaur yesterday made a few blunders. I think used her spinners on a pitch, assisted the spinners. But I feel the final main point here is the crux of the point is uh, India are not able to match Australia in terms of mental side of things. That is where India seem to lose whenever they lose a wicket or whenever the batter scores some runs against India. They
Hmm.
seem to lose the plot straight away. They don't really bounce back. So I think that is the main part that India seem to lose because they crumble under pressure.
Yeah, thanks, Bharat. We got Agni joining us as well for the show. I'll come to him. I'll just ask Sneashish first as well. Sneashish, Bharat mentioned that the team fought hard. There's an issue of mentality as well. Talk about these two factors. Do you think this team actually fought hard yesterday? Would fighting hard mean going over the line, or would it mean reaching there almost and then playing poor cricket at the end and then not crossing the line? Would you call that fighting hard?
I think if you see only the scorecard after the match, you will think like that. Okay, the team was fighting hard. They lost only by 9 runs. But if you see the whole innings of India's batting, it was always the catching up the game. We are not in front of the game at any time. So I think overall, when you concede on a pitch like Sharjah 150 plus against Australia, it was already done and dusted for you. So I think overall it was not that, yeah, batters tried their hard. Shefali Verma tried to play some shots with the intent, but again, she should have continued. Obviously, Shriti Mandana, we don't, I think we will discuss about her after some
Yeah.
time, and obviously Harmanpreet Kaur tried her best, but it was not. It was never our game, I will say, because in that chase we're always chasing that total, and we're not at par with the required run rate. And if you ask mentality, I think there's a clear difference in the mentality when it comes to top teams like England, Australia, and India, especially in the fielding. As I mentioned yesterday also, that the fielding mentality and the intensity that you show towards the ball, that the balls, we're going for that half chances to make those into full opportunities. I think the intent was lacking in Indian fielders compared to Australian, and especially the running between the wickets. Even when Australians were batting, they were focusing on those one and two more, because the boundaries were very tough to get, because the pitch was, the ball was spinning, the pitch was, gripping a bit. So I think they focused on the small things, and these small things make a huge difference between those two teams. I think these small things needs to be addressed quickly between those teams for India. Otherwise, things will be more bad in coming days.
Yeah. Gagi, I'll come to you here. Sneashish mentioned intensity, and there's a lot of talk about fitness going around, that the side probably isn't the fittest side. But like Trisha said in the past as well, you don't have to be fit to bend and catch a ball. You don't have to be fit to take a simple catch. Okay, if you take a blinder, then you might require some level of fitness for that. What about fitness? What is there a solution for this? First of all, do you think it's a fitness issue or just a lack of application, lack of effort? And if that's the case, yeah, what's the solution for that? If the team's not willing to take that basic step of, stopping those extra runs, stopping that boundary, taking your catches, wherever you're going, like, what's the solution?
Yeah, it's not just a fitness issue, of course. Somewhere or the other, you have to look at batters. You have to look at your top orders batters. Take Shefali Verma, for example. She's not quick with those singles and doubles, so that is somewhere you get hampered. Yes, the entire team gets hampered, but it's an overall. I think at this point, everything is going wrong. When you look at fitness, it's a very small part of a entire system that needs to be changed at this point. There's so many things to look, introspect about. If we look back on India's campaign, let's see, after that Pakistan match, Arundhati Reddy
Hmm.
came out for the not the yes, the press conference, and said, something else. Smriti Mandhana the next day said something else. It's almost like nobody knows what's really going on.
Yes.
We thought, going into with those warm-up matches with South Africa and West Indies, we thought number 3 was Harmanpreet Kaur. Clearly, they hadn't decided on that situation either. So we're not seeing any solid decisions, not from Harmanpreet, not from Amol Muzumdar. If you're in an environment like that, it seems stressful from the outside. When you're in it, it becomes even more, difficult to come together as a team and play it. And that's something that Australia does very well. And the third point that I have to talk about is
Yeah.
obviously intent. You see intent from a team like Australia. You see intent from a team like England or a New Zealand. They don't let go of the game until the very last over, until the very last ball. This is something, see, we in the Indians team, something happens, something bad happens, a bad
Hmm.
over, a dropped catch. Either the captain will scream at the fielder, or immediately your shoulders drop. Immediately your shoulders drop, and your intent is gone. When you're chasing, yesterday's match as well. Where is that intent of wanting to chase that big total? This
Yeah.
was Sharjah. You were not going to get it easy. You were not going to chase that total with 4 or 5 run rate. You had to do something extraordinary, and we've seen nothing extraordinary from Team India except the last match that we saw before Australia. And I had said this before the match as well. That looked like a one-off match, because if Team India had been playing like that consistently for the past 3-4 matches, we would have said, yes, this is the Team India that can beat Australia. But at this point, everything is going wrong. That's what I
Fair
feel.
points, Agni. Fair points. Agni, in the group last night, you mentioned you were heartbroken. Earlier, you also mentioned that you believe India can win. From believing India can win to going to I am heartbroken, what happened in that period? Let's hear it from you because you weren't part of the show last night as well. We've already discussed many factors: Kriti Mandana not being able to perform in big matches, poor fielding, lack of intent, the team not coming together. But let's hear your thoughts as well.
Let me start with a quote by the current Indian head coach, Gigi. By the way, Gigi has his birthday today. So from the Rev Sports family, a very, very happy birthday to Gautam Gambhir, the man of ICC tournament finals. And who better to quote now, right at this point of time? So while being with KKR last season, Gigi said something very important, taking a cue from what the others are saying as well. A winning dressing room is a happy dressing room, is a winning dressing room. Make no mistake about this. A winning dressing room is a happy dressing room, is a winning dressing room. There will be ego clashes, there will be fights, but you need to win at the end of the day. It's black and white. You either win or lose, be it an ICC tournament or a bilateral series. So if you're not winning, the points that Gargi mentioned will absolutely come to the fore. And she was absolutely right in mentioning everything that she just said. Every decision will come under the scanner. Every decision will be scrutinized. But if you are winning, you are on a winning streak, nobody's going to question you. Can you imagine the Alisa Hilly missing out last night, but still Australia pulling through? Look at their batting depth. Yeah. And I was heartbroken. I was heartbroken for a lot of reasons because we were, I wrote that I still believe we can pull this off because of the presence of a certain Harmanpreet Kaur in the middle. She has been in these situations for long times, despite the people at the press conference saying we lack experience. We did not. We did not lack experience. What are you talking about? You're talking about a legend of Indian cricket, Harmanpreet Kaur, in a tight crunch situation. You are branded as a legend. Get your team out of that. You are a captain. You have that extra responsibility.
Yeah.
So get your team out of a hole. And she takes a single of the last ball of the 19th over. She's on strike for the entire 28th over. The total is very much gettable considering the T20 standards right now. Look at what happens. She takes a single of the first ball of the 28th over. And right at that time, I wrote in the group, if you see, that I wrote that match over. There was nothing. You were expecting a Radha Yadav and a Pooja Vastrakar to finish it off seriously? When you have that experience and that explosiveness of Harmanpreet Kaur in the middle, and she has been batting for long enough. She knows the nature of the surface. She's well set. She has had a look at all the bowlers. Get your team to that finishing mark. Deny the single, keep the strike, take your team through. Even if you beat Australia by the barest of margins, you still may not qualify. But still, at least, give your fans, give your passionate Indian fans something to cheer for. That's what I believed last night. And I was absolutely shattered to see Harmanpreet taking the single of the first ball of the 28th over. Then questions will be raised. Did she believe that the match was already gone out of her hands? Did she believe she could not pull this off? And if you cannot pull off 14 runs of the last over being an Indian captain and representing India since 2009 in World Cups, then I really, really have nothing else to say. Shahane?
Yep. Yes, we got a super chat. We'll just take that and we'll continue our discussion. Boreda, it's written, women's cricket is played between India, Australia, England. The only sport which has the least competition in the world, still not qualifying, is disgusting.
I think this question is disgusting and stupid. So that's what it is. What about New Zealand? What about South Africa? You think they play carol in their terraces or what? This kind of ridiculous questioning makes. We are actually doing a constructive show. Don't waste your money and ask foolish questions. This is a constructive show for an important subject, which is Indian women's game going forward. What do you mean it's played by India, Australia, and England? What about South Africa? South Africa has played a World Cup final last year. What about New Zealand? They have beaten India hands down. They have a Sophie Devine who is one of the best in the world. What about some Sri Lanka? So clearly, Sri Lanka is that bad, which doesn't even qualify any of this thing, top three. They beat us in the Asia Cup. So imagine how bad you are. So don't ask such questions which trivialize. Coming to a more fundamental point, I think this is a pattern. India plays Australia, Smriti fails, Harman gets a 50. The personal box is ticked, match doesn't get done. This is a pattern. Smriti fails every time there is a high pressure game, Harman gets a 50. People will say, oh, you know what, Harman tried, but unfortunately she came close, didn't. Give me one reason One reason. Where was common sense? If Harmanpreet Kaur played all 6 balls like Ogni said, I would have been fine with it. Unfortunately, she couldn't hit. Anybody can't. But
Yes.
with 3 balls left, she takes a single. So you mean to say 2 balls left, you can't hit 2 sixes. You can't, and Radha Yadav can, or Shriyanka Patil can. Even if you get those 2 sixes, you have 1 point, Isha. With that 1 point, you could have pushed New Zealand. 31 dot balls were played yesterday. 31, which means 5 overs of dot balls. And yet, that one ball where Richa Ghosh pushes to cover, you push that for that single and get Richa Ghosh run out, who is your only power hitter, by the way, who is your only power hitter in the last couple of overs who can hit a couple of big sixes like a Shafali Verma does. Where is common sense? There is an acute lack of common sense. And by the way, this instruction should have come from the dugout, if not from the captain in the middle. And that is where I think India continues to baffle me. Baffle me. Special group. It can only be a special group if the group goes on to deliver. We are like Belgium. The generation of Eden Hazard and X and Y and Romelu Lukaku and Kevin De Bruyne, they are great for club football. They are great for City and other teams. When it comes to Belgium, they don't perform. And that is the truth. Unless they perform as a collective for the national team, it can never, ever be a special group.
Absolutely, absolutely. Trisha, we've been speaking about all the problems. Let's start getting to the solutions here. We'll take Dr. Batra's statement. He's saying, why is Smriti played after failing in so many high pressure games? Because the smile is pretty. Drop her, yard, for God's sake. Is dropping Smriti a solution? And if it is, who are we going to replace her with? If it's not, what's the way ahead for her?
Look, I think you have to try World Cup to World Cup, right? So, dropping Smriti, no, I'm not saying drop her, but I'm also saying that I don't think you can give her a legend status. You can't call Smriti a goat. Neither can you say that Harmanpreet is a legend because scoring for our coach says Australia experience one. Where is our experience? Where is our experience? Are you asking whether we are experienced or not? Sorry, I didn't get it. Or was it sarcastic? If it's sarcastic,
He's asking
then I
you, I
get it.
think, yeah.
Our experience is there. It's just that, see, this is what I'm continuously saying. I don't have a problem if India loses. My problem is you cannot tell me that India lost because India didn't have experience. Say India lost because we didn't apply ourselves. And, on immediate basis, you have to change the captain. Make Jemima the
That's the
captain.
first solution.
Because
Change the captain.
that's the first solution, because Harmanpreet Kaur can be anything but a captain material. Anybody who screams and shouts and makes a whole drama on field, not a captain material, So anyway, and we have seen her captaincy. In fact, I'll go up to the extent of saying the moment Aliza Healy was injured, I was almost like, oh my God, the only weak part of Australia is Aliza Healy's captaincy. That is also gone because McGrath is not a weak captain. Did you see the bowling changes? Yes, they were bowling fast. Yeah, Gati.
Yes, Gati.
Actually, I need to get to the press conference, so
Yeah,
I'll
sure.
have to leave.
Please do. So anyway, getting back to the point, the leadership needs to change. So change the captain, but don't make Smriti the captain, because Smriti is also in her advanced years of her career. So there's no point in making her the captain. Make Jemima the captain, the next generation. Give her time to settle in as a leader. The other part is, I'm not going to say drop Smriti. I'll say drop Shafali. Smriti still gives you bilateral series. First, drop Shafali. You cannot be in the team because you're a power hitter. You cannot be just in the team because you're talented.
Yes.
Not taking anything away from Shafali's talent, but that talent is zero because she barely performs. She's not a kid anymore. If you knew that you were getting runs, you had to stay on. You had to finish the game. No runs have any meaning unless you have finished the game. And as Boriada said, I completely agree that there is a pattern to it. In fact, you know what I told Snehashish this, that the moment her 50 happens, she'll get injured. Something will happen. And that is what is happening. It is happening
Yes.
every single match, every single game. For
Yes.
years now. The experience that Amal Majumdar is talking about, that experience, we are seeing the same pattern happening.
Yeah.
Number 3, Jemima was your number 3. Keep her at number 3. Or get in a Yastika. Because Yastika is the better keeper.
There's a statement here as well, Trisha. Where is Jastika Bhatia, Brinda, Dinesh, Shaika, Ishaq? Um, do you think all of these
Kiran
players should be
Mathur,
included?
Ahuja.
Yeah,
Not all at a time, but Yastika is
few of
there
them.
in the. Yastika is there. Yastika is the better keeper. You know what? Someone like Richa can play as a finisher alone. You don't need her to be a wicket keeper finisher. So play her as a batter at number 5. That's fine. Get Yastika Bhatia at 3 or get Yastika Bhatia to open, whatever it is. She has done a good job for Mumbai Indians. She's your better keeper. Yesterday, for the first 13-14 balls of Australian innings, Australia was scoring less, Richa was giving more.
Hmm.
You have to go get those things sorted first. Richa was never a wicket-keeping material as such. There are fitness issues which need to be worked on.
Yeah, definitely.
What fielding camp did you have if that is your fielding? For fielding, you don't need experience. You know the ball will come to you. You have to go towards the ball. You can't have pacers at 80. I mean, I agree. Arundhati has picked up 6-7 wickets, but that's because it was Dubai wicket, which was already slow. You have only one skiddy pace bowler, that's Pooja Vastrkar, who's injured. 100 days out of 360.
Hmm.
And it's not like you don't have a backup. Titash is injured. I don't know why the injury is taking so long. What is happening? Nobody talks. We don't know what's happening. And it's not like there aren't pacers. I mean, there are enough people in the domestic circuit. You have to try out,
Absolutely. Absolutely, sure. Yes. Snehashi, Bharat, I'll come to you all. I just wanted to ask Agni this because, I'd like to get his opinions. Agni, fielding a big issue. We've been talking about this since the longest time. Bharat, Snehashi as well have also told us that they've been practicing hard. I attended a press conference in Mumbai where, they mentioned we've had a fielding camp, skills camp, but it's not reflecting on the match here. So this is the problem and we need a solution. What's the way ahead over here? If they're not able to stop runs in the field, they're going to lose matches in the future as well, for sure. What is that immediate solution? Where do you think we're going wrong when it comes to fielding? If you looked at Australia's match, they stopped runs. They stopped runs, which made all the difference.
And if you remember, Ishan, this was exactly my point when we had this thing going on. This is exactly what I said after the Sri Lanka match. I said Australia is going to come hard, and they're going to come hard with their fielding. By ground fielding, they're going to stop 20 runs. They're going to take all the catches, and all my predictions came through yesterday. I typed a message in the group yesterday saying, last over, Harmanpreet, this is a chance to become a cult from a legend. Boria replies after 2 minutes, take your cult and go back home. Australia have outdone us with fielding. Can you imagine how cool Australia are on the field? In crunch situations, in tight situations, they're affecting direct hits. And this is not a rocket science. This is not a rocket science. You have to get better as a fielding unit. And there are apparently fielding drills, fielding sessions lasting 135 minutes in between matches of the World Cup. My only question to the support staff and the think tank, what was the preparation coming into this World Cup? You cannot be having these sessions between the World Cup when you are playing back-to-back matches, when you have, the groups. You know you're going to face extremely tough opponents. You know Australia is the team to beat in the competition. They are the best, if not the best. You have to get your fielding standards up, and this will not happen overnight. All the more I believe that, yes, of course, there's this thing of the young blood and fresh blood that need to come in. We need to have fresh feet. But also, I think what's important is you start making this a priority in domestic levels. You start prioritizing this from the grassroots level. If you want to play for India, first your fitness needs to be up there. Nobody is asking you to, and please understand the fact, I'm again bringing men's cricket, but please understand the fact I'm not demeaning women's cricket. Just as an example, I'm saying this, that iconic catch of Surya Kumar Yadav, that didn't happen overnight. Yes. It was a complete fielding transition that first happened under MS, and it was taken to the next level by Virat. So it happened periodically. Virat and Ravi Shastri, you may criticize Ravi Shastri all you want. You may say that, oh, he's sleeping in the dressing room, he's saying this, he's saying that. Boss, look at the fielding side under Ravi Shastri. Virat and Ravi Shastri prioritized this and kept telling this in every press conference. We may not be the best batting team. We may not be the best bowling team. We want to be the best fielding team. Virat categorically said, we want to have the best 11 athletes on the field.
Yeah.
Now look at a Bumrah, now look at a Siraj. When they're fielding, they're hardly dropping catches. They're making their presence felt on the field. It's not enough to just ball 4 overs or just go hammer and tongs in the power play. You need to stop runs, and that has to start from the domestic level. That has to start from the grassroots level, and this needs to be prioritized by the management, by the selection committee who are looking into the selections. And you need to have specific fielders. Yuvraj Singh Mohammad Kaif, in an interview said, I remembered the role that Dada told me to play. He said, you come during the slog overs, give me 30-40 runs with the bat, save 50 runs on the field for me. That's your job. Save those 50 runs on the field for me. So you need to have that leadership, you need to have that understanding of the game, and you need to have that support staff who are willing to back the fielders. And this is not a rocket science. Plus, this will not happen overnight. This will require a transformation, this will require a transition, and it has to happen at the domestic and grassroots level.
Yep. Thanks, Agni. There's an interesting statement here. I'll ask Bharat. Yes, Risha, before you.
Yeah, just to add a point, there are a lot of statements, and a lot of people are saying that I saw a lot of so-called sports journalists putting up that there was no series before we went to the World Cup. BCCI did not give us a series. It's nice that we want to make BCCI the scapegoat. It's cute, but you know what? I think if you go back to Amal Majumdar's PC, he has clearly mentioned that the players didn't really want to play a series, instead of that camp. So it is not always BCCI who needs to be blamed. The captain and the coach, if they wanted a particular series, they could have asked the BCCI that, you know what, we want a series, give us a series. I don't understand, or maybe, I don't know, one of you can tell me, maybe Boriada, if Jay Shah or any Roger Binney was asked for a series, the same Jay Shah, Roger Binney who are giving you a WPL, who are making this, trying to make it a level field. I'm not saying everything is level, or I'm not talking about the money. I'm saying people who are trying to provide the best for you. Do you think they would have said that, no, we are not going to give you a series? You don't care if you're going to the World Cup? You think so?
People played the 100. Why don't we just accept the fact that the Indian men's team, they are not allowed to play these franchise leagues? We keep saying that by playing the 100, the standard goes up because you're rubbing shoulders against the world's best. Half of these players, all of the people put their names up for the WBBL. They put their names up for the 100. Deepti Sharma 100, Jemima Rodriguez 100, Harmanpreet Kaur, Smriti Mandana. A lot of our players have played the 100. What are we talking about? When was the 100? July, August. When was the 100? So what is this nonsense about not playing? So then you will miss out on the 100, and then you will say, oh, you know what? Rather than playing against one particular side, a bilateral side, give us the experience of going and playing a 100 or a WBBL, because we will have the experience of playing with the world's best. Stop these excuses. Stop these excuses. This is kind of bizarre. Actually, this is bizarre. When the men's team loses, we are clear cut. They failed us. And it's a fact. If they fail the WTC, we will call it like that. Why don't you call it like that? Equal treatment, call it like that. Don't give excuses. There is some question here. BCCI should pay more for facilities. What facilities? What facility are we talking about? The same NCA is used. The same facilities are used. What facilities? Coach Amol Mazumdar, when he was brought, he was Aladdin's junior edition. That with this magic wand, he will transform everything. What facilities was? I mean, it is BCCI is everybody's favorite whipping boy because it's a successful organization which makes money. That allows people the kind of leeway to hammer the BCCI. That's good.
Yeah.
This is not the BCCI's fault. This is a fault of, we know how and where. Players, coach, support staff, management, they were given everything that they needed to go out there and perform. In that pre-departure press conference, Harmanpreet Kaur on record, this is India's greatest T20 team. You were there, Isha Jhare. This is India's greatest T20 team in that Mumbai press conference in September. Your captain. So if it is India's greatest T20 team, it doesn't qualify for the World Cup semi-finals. You tell me what is our standard. Simple as
Yeah.
that.
Also, just to add, Harmanpreet Kaur this time was not even taken in the WBBL and the 100 side, and she's your best batter in the team. Speaks a lot about the team.
Hmm.
No, no,
There's
Trisha,
this,
the thing is very simple.
yeah.
And see, people need to perform. It's just not enough to live up to,
No,
it's
no.
just not enough to have
Okay,
a reputation behind
no, no.
you.
What I'm trying to say is no. Here is what I'm trying to say that Harmanpreet Kaur is your best bet in T20s, or at least in this World Cup was your best batter. In world picture, WBBL and the 100 gives you the world picture, the the auctions, right? There, nobody wanted to take Harmanpreet Kaur. Her name wasn't there, and she's the best batter of your team. You get that point? So basically, how bad are you, or how bad have you been? How bad has the application been? Nobody is denying that Harmanpreet is a good batter or Smriti is a good batter, but if you don't apply yourself, what will I do with it?
Exactly the point, Trisha. And you need to prove yourself
Let's
time
go
and
to the
again
let's
by
go to the Dubai team and to Gargi because she's at the HIL press conference. Ishan, quick. I think we've
Yeah.
been doing it for 40 odd minutes. Go to Bharat, Snehashish, and Gargi for a comment
Yes.
each, and then we can come back. Yeah.
Yeah. Bharat, I'll come to you. I'm sure you must be having you've heard of all that's been taking place at the moment. A lot of factors over here. Anything that you would like to suggest? We've discussed Smriti, we've discussed the fielding, intent. Anything in your opinion on what's the way ahead?
I would add Harmanpreet Kaur's captaincy. I think she has made quite a few blunders here. She didn't apply the pressure with spinners. That track was definitely helping the spinners. From one end, she was having a pace bowler, and from another end, she was having a spinner. Any sense to me in those conditions? I think one of her biggest flaws is she's tactically very weak.
Hmm.
We could see it even in the game against New Zealand. The way she set fields for Brooke Holiday, or for that matter, the way she used Sayanka Patel and Dipti Sharma. I think that's one of as far as fielding is concerned. What I would add is Jonty Rhodes' quote itself. He had once said that fielding it doesn't seem like work when you. I don't think a lot of these girls enjoy the fielding aspect. I guess that is where it comes down to. Yes, the fielding coach used them a lot of practice. I'm telling it again on record. 90 minutes he gave them practice. Gave them a lot of practice, hard practice, tough. It was tough. Next session he gave them 45 minutes of practice. 2 days ago again, he was giving them a lot of practice. But eventually, the fielders themselves, players
Yeah.
themselves have enjoyed the fielding aspect. I don't think the current set of players enjoy it, and that is what you see. And, that is why you see kind of below par performances from the Indian players when it comes to the fielding department. So somewhere it has to start from a junior level. The next group of players come into the setup. They have to be inculcated or ingrained with this fielding aspect of the game. Where they're asked to improve their fielding. It's not just about batting, it's not just about bowling, it's also about fielding. The current set of players,
Yes.
I'm not too sure that they will improve further when it comes to fielding. This is the best they can do. The simple reason is they don't enjoy the fielding aspect of the game.
Yep, you're right, but I think it all starts from the grassroots, and if you want change, it has to start from the bottom itself. Snehashish, I'll ask you this one. Let me know what you think of it. First of all, stop these 45-meter boundary size in WPL. Do you think, this is a factor? Definitely. Let's hear what you have to think about this because psychologically, and when you're actually not playing with a 45-meter boundary, it makes a big difference.
Yes, absolutely. I think yesterday in the live, Surya sir mentioned this point that in WPL you for boundaries, and when your batters hit those sixes, they become confident that we can hit sixes, we can hit sixes anywhere. But in this World Cup, you see that batters struggle to hit sixes even in Sharjah. So I think this is an aspect that needs to be looked after. because ultimately, if you keep continuing to hit six and become confident that okay, I will can hit in bigger grounds like Australia and in any other grounds, it will be not so easy. And another point that I want to add in this thing, in this whole matter, that there is some comfort zone among the players, that there is no one to replace us, because India
Mm.
lacks bench strength. India lacks bench strength.
Yes, yes.
In that bench, there is not many members that can, when we can say that, okay, bring this player in place of her, she can do the job. And I think players know that. I think that comfort zone is there. And I think that is why the, performance are getting hampered. For example, Richa Ghosh. If you are taking, you were thinking about Richa Ghosh, the way she kept last day, she knows I may be the only power hitter who can bat at number 5. I can do the wicket keeping, but who is the replacement for me waiting at this bench? No one. Yastika Bhatia, wicket keeper, but not a power hitter. She can hit the ball hard, but she is a top order batter, not at number 5 or 6. Another one, that Chetri, she is okayish wicket keeper, not enough, experience, or not enough improved wicket keeper at all. So I think the replacements are not, there in the bench, and that is why players are more comfortable. So Richa goes in her mind maybe thinking, okay, even if I don't perform in 4 or 5 matches, there is no one to replace me. Team needs me, I will be there. So I think the comfort zone needs to be broken, and for that you need some new faces. And if they perform, if they start performing for the team, then the push will come to these playing 11 players. Okay, then I have to be my top form to be in that team. Otherwise, there are players who can replace me. So I think that comfort zone needs to be taken care of.
Yes, Snehashish, I'm happy you mentioned Richa Ghosh. Actually, we've been speaking about Amanpreet, Smriti, not enough about Richa. Gargi, I'll come to you over here. Not great performances with the bat. She's dropped a few sitters. She seems like she's struggling behind the wickets. This is not someone you'd want technically in your team as a wicket keeper. Yes, she's a power hitter like Snehashish had mentioned, but she's not done enough with the bat either. And against New Zealand, she dropped a sitter which came right, basic catches in the international level are expected to be taken here. Talk about Richa Ghosh. There might not be enough replacements for her, but what's the way ahead for her? Because you can't be dropping catches in a World Cup, especially sitters, and she seemed completely uncomfortable in all of the games. In fact,
At this point, what is needed is complete introspection. It's not just Richa who was, not up to the par. It's the entire team. We had, huge expectations from everyone at this point because this is a World Cup. Our players are very experienced, unlike what Amol Muzumdar says. They've been playing for a very long time, not just for India, but also in domestic cricket, other leagues. So they are not, kids who have just gotten into cricket. They've been playing the sport since they were little and they've been going around the Indian domestic circuit as well. So at this point, you need very, very hard introspection. And on, a closing note from my side, I would like to say at this point, do a hard revamp of Indian women's cricket. Hard revamp because go back to domestic cricket. Go back to domestic cricket. Find, there's a lot of talent there. You have no idea how much talent is being held back because of unnecessary stuff, because of politics, this and that. Go back to domestic cricket and find those gems that are hidden there. There are many, many. And second is obviously a captaincy change that is needed. And don't make Smriti Mandana the captain just because she's the second in line. Find someone. If there's someone better, if you can find a talent, like Boria said the other day as well, you made an MS Dhoni a captain. Why can't you do that with the women's team as well? At this point, you need an entire revamp. You need to go back because at this point, what is happening is it's not as if things are getting complicated and you're not winning because of complicated stuff. You're losing because your basics are not covered.
yeah,
Your singles and doubles are not coming. You're dropping catches. You're leaving, fielding. So that is not something you expect out of an international team anyway, especially the Indian women's cricket team. So you need to go back and rethink everything that is going on. What kind of training are these players being given? What's the fitness like? Everything needs to be changed at this point.
absolutely, absolutely. We've been going on for 45 minutes. We'll take a few more questions and then we can end the show. Boryada, we'll take this one statement here. BCCI should call a 20 to 25 players camp, including this World Cup squad, for a 2-month camp under Rahul Dravid or MST on special request. Make them go under rigorous training. This might not be possible, but the message over here is sent that there should be people of probably high authority or experience to come and train this group and groom this group. Your thoughts on this?
High profile names do not deliver as coaches or mentors. That is the last thing that happens, and we've seen that with way too many people. It is not about MS Dhoni coming and making a difference to the women's game. Why MS Dhoni? Where is MS Dhoni coming from? I mean, for why on earth? Why on earth? 2 month camp. 2 month camp. What 2 month camp? I mean, people keep playing international cricket round the year. They have a WPL. They have a hundred. They have a this. They have a that. There are multiple different series. People will play. These are impractical suggestions in this day and age that we will hold a 2 month camp. 2 month camp will give you what? What? The fact is, there should be, again, we keep saying there should be introspection properly, not radical rubbish. It's fundamentally, you must first accept that if you want to do things radically, completely sort of overhaul, Smriti Vandana, I'll throw her out. What do you mean throw her out? You throw everybody out. Harmanpreet Kaur is still, unfortunately, Trisha was right there. She's still your best batter.
Yeah.
In this tournament, she was still your best batter in T20 cricket. Face it, not Jemima, not Smriti, not Shafali, it was still Harmanpreet Kaur. It is still Harmanpreet Kaur, for God's sake. She doesn't get picked in the WBBL. She's your best batter. I mean, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Deepti Sharma wins. Not one shot here. Not one. Deepti Sharma is your best all-rounder. So, let us, and it's not about experience.
Yes.
It is about players evolving. It is about players evolving and getting themselves to the next level. It is about the coach accepting this is accountability. I have to take accountability and do the job. I think it's a long, hard road ahead. I am still optimistic, always will be, that it is India. A lot of people have written to me saying, why are you covering it? Absolute ridiculous rubbish. When India did not qualify for the Olympics in hockey in Beijing, did we stop covering hockey? When India won 2 medals in Rio, did we stop covering Olympics? When India won 2 medals in Paralympics, did we stop covering Paralympics? What do you mean stop covering? You cover more. You back the sport more, stay with the sport more, back the girls more, but ask the hard questions. We are not cheerleaders.
Yeah.
We will not be cheerleaders at Red Sports. I am sorry. We will ask the hard questions, and we will ask constructive hard questions with a clear critical edge. And the truth is,
Yes.
we have let ourselves down in this World Cup, and the questions need to be asked.
Absolutely, absolutely. Trisha, Snehashish, any final thoughts and comments before we end the show? We've discussed everything, but any final thoughts?
I think, first of all, we have to go from, I think even the fans have a little bit of a duty here, as Boryada said. Before the start of the tournament, none of us were watching the tournament because it's boring. And then all of us are suddenly watching it and commenting how Smriti, Harman, everybody should be thrown out of the team. Look, when we are questioning stuff, very good question, but please have a rationale. And as far as the team is concerned, I think the first thing that they need to do is they need to sit down and regroup. And
Yeah.
maybe they don't want to take accountability in the press. Let them not. But I would be glad if they're taking accountability when inside the dressing room at least. And be like, you know what, these are the 10 points which did not go right. And let one of the seniors or two of the seniors, just put their hands up and say, you know what, I goofed up. Let's plan this. Let's take from this T20 World Cup to next T20 World Cup. First of all, we have to realize that probably age-wise also, this is someone like Harman's last World Cup. So what happens now? What I would actually detest is if Harman plays for 1 year and then goes on to retire or
Yes.
that is not part of the team. That has to come soon. That has to come now if she doesn't play the next World Cup. And not
Yeah.
because I have anything against Harman, because I am clearly saying that she has been the best batter. But my question is, if Harman is not playing the next World Cup, because it has to be from one World Cup cycle to another World Cup cycle. So if Harman is not playing the next World Cup, she has to retire. Get a new captain. Now concentrate on the bowlers that you have, Do we have enough pacers? We have enough spinners. What is Deepti Sharma's role? Also, there's a lack of clarity. There's definite lack of clarity who's doing what. Apart from that, You know
Yes.
what? I think Agni said, that Muhammad Kaif was told, this is your role. Tell every player, this is your role. You are given 10 matches, prove. If
This is your
not,
role
let's
and
try.
execute. Yeah.
Yeah, let's try Uma Chetri. Even if Uma Chetri is raw, let's try her out if Richa is not good enough. But there has to be a finite number of matches. You can't say, oh, there is nobody, there's no bench strength. No, I don't buy the fact that there's no bench strength. I do not.
Yeah.
These
Because like
This is
Gagi
why,
mentioned, there's a lot of domestic talent which can also come through.
exactly my point. The domestic talent have to be given a platform.
Yeah.
And you can't always, say the same old thing that there's no bench strength. Try them out. You'll try
Yeah.
five, maybe one will work. But this is the time to try out. If you're out of the World Cup, until unless Pakistan pulls off a miracle, you're out of the World Cup. Don't sit down and go into self pity mode. Let's go into innovation
Absolutely.
mode. Let's go into improvement mode. That's what.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. We have to plan ahead, and hopefully these changes can be implemented. Sneashish, your final thought before we end the show.
I think nothing more to add what Bodia said and Trishadi said. We have to be optimistic, but I just want to say that you have to note, the small things which is making difference with other teams. I think you have to, correct those small and important things that will make huge impact. Basic things you need to correct. I think that will make, and obviously new faces should be tried and some hard calls should be made. I think this is the high time. So let's see what happens.
Agni is joined back again. So, Agni, we're just ending the show. I was asking the panelists their final thoughts. So, let's hear your final thoughts as well, and we can end the show.
As an Indian cricket fan, I'm heartbroken. But as an Indian cricket fan, I'll obviously stand by the side no matter what through their ups and downs. And we have to remember the fact that again, the success story, the change will not happen overnight. It requires a lot of effort, requires a lot of how do I put it? Probably an overhaul of the current leadership. That's how. And certain things need to be put in place. If a player is not good enough, you have to look that person in the eye and say that, boss, you are not playing, you are not good enough. That's the same thing. Rahul Dravid actually came under a lot of flack for doing that to Riddhiman Shah. But you have to understand the fact that if you do not want a certain player in the team, you have to be very clear to yourself and to the player that this is the reason. Trisha just mentioned Harmanpreet Kaur is not wanted when you look at the world scheme of things. Then the Indian captain is not wanted. Can you imagine if a Virat Kohli decides to play in world leagues, what his cost would be, or a Rohit Sharma if he decides to play? So you have to get better from here on, and you will get better from here on, because this is absolutely the darkest part of the tunnel that you have reached.
Yes.
You before coming to this World Cup, you said in the press conference that we are ready. This is the best T20 side that we could have. And the first match, you got a drubbing to New Zealand, and Australia just brushed you aside in the last game. You had an absolutely below par match against Pakistan. You had an okayish day against a weak team like Sri Lanka. So the World Cup cannot be a benchmark for your success story, unfortunately. Hopefully things will get uphill from here on. A lot of effort needs to go into the fielding drills. The domestic levels need to be looked at. And as Snehashish was saying, who will replace this current crop of players? We don't have enough quality players. What's the process from now on? A lot of questions are there, and they need to be
We
answered by
have
the
enough
Indian
quality
management.
players. They are not getting chances.
Do we?
We have quality players. We do. We have bench strength.
So, if that is the case, then a complete transition has to happen, because you understand the players are not getting any younger. So the transition, the transformation has to happen, and that fearless attitude that has to come. The template was set in the 2023 World Cup, and just look at the result. India in 2024 T20 World Cup and throughout this year T20 started with. So somebody has to take that onus. Who is going to be that Rohit Sharma who says, I'm going to open the batting, I'm going for 90 in the power play, doesn't matter if I lose my wicket. Right. And you need that support staff to back him up. That go there, do your job, lead the team you want to. So that accountability, that leadership, that transition has to happen. And it cannot happen overnight. It's a long process, but Rev Sports will be with the Indian team no matter what.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you all for joining, and thank you to all 2,000 of you all as well. Productive live session, in my opinion. A lot of hard facts been thrown out there, but all we can do is wish our team well and hopefully all these changes can be implemented in the near future. Thank you all for joining once again. Stay tuned to Ref Sports. Like, share, subscribe. We'll catch you all for the next live. Thank you.